Welcome back to XCOM Long War 2 Abridged. Last time, our main bit of progress was capturing a second scientist, so we can now progress with the main story objective, although it cost us Che Guevara's life. Aside from that, we just did some general fighting, leveling up, and gathering of stuff. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually do this legendary autopsy on the Advent Officer to start progressing the story, but that will take a while. The reason I'm able to do that is I just finished some research on laser weapons, which proved to be incredibly disappointing. I think in vanilla, when you get these upgrades, you buy one laser rifle and then everybody has one basically, so you're upgrading the entire team. But in this mod, you're just buying literally one rifle, and the resources it costs are things we don't have. So basically, I'm able to get 2 laser rifles for all that time spent trying to get that upgrade, and really nothing's going to come of that. What a waste of time. Now we've finished the second month of the game, and it looks like the aliens are stealing tons of our money. I need to put better operatives in my bases, I guess, to try and stop that from happening. But I also want to use those operatives for other things. Will they make more money doing stuff in combat actions? I don't really know. Another legendary find a lead mission comes up, so I'm going to send a squad to go on that in case it allows us to find a lead. But first, we're going to try and find a different lead, because another mission is ready we set up in the past. It's a find a lead mission that also has the chance for us to recruit a non-terrible soldier, and that's the sort of thing we need, ready to take losses. The fighting here started when an enemy squad basically walked on top of me as I was crossing this street, and while I'm not discovered yet, now that I'm in the enemy's discovery range, I think if I take any action with the guys in that range, I'll be discovered. I could just sit there and wait for the enemy to walk off, but they might not, and there's a time limit. So I just get things started. Alexandria the Great absolutely demolishes that first squad with a really good rocket attack. It does somehow leave one of the little scout bots alive. Those are the things that really make it hard to be concealed, because they have absolutely huge detection range, and they move quite far each turn, so it's easy to get outflanked by them. Anyway, so that thing's coming into combat with us, plus we're seeing for the first time a stun lancer there. We've now unlocked the next tier of enemies, so we can face stun lancers and the weird snake things at this stage in the campaign, so we'll watch out for them. They're pretty deadly even just in vanilla. As for the surveillance drone that's close to us, Nuke moves up and takes it out easily. With the 2 guys by that building, I'm going to try another rocket from Caesar. He's the same class as Alexandria the Great, can't remember what it's called, but basically they can do that once per mission. Unfortunately, it's quite inaccurate, so I don't get the hit I was looking for. However, I do destroy the cover of the second guy, and Belisarius here then has a clean shot on him, gets the crit, and down he goes. Now we've just got 1 enemy to face. In the alien turn, 2 more guys come over to investigate all the hubbub, and this is going to be pretty annoying actually, because they run about back there absorbing some overwatch, which we really needed. We need it because of the stun lancer. In my previous campaigns I noticed the stun lancers, like, well, doing this. They will make suicide charges against you, and because they're quite powerful, they can just take you down, and that's what they did to Caesar right there. The good news is he's still alive. He's now unconscious, so we can't use him, but there's also no bleed out timer, so he's not going to die. We can just leave him on the floor and try to complete the mission without him. Alexandria the Great went past that stun lancer to shoot into the flank of an officer, but we didn't get the crit, so no kill. Meanwhile, Nuke moved up close to the stun lancer and took him out. So yes, if we had some overwatch, we might have protection against enemy suicide charges like that, but as it stands we didn't. Hannibal throws a grenade and the physical impact actually kills the officer, then it goes off just for good measure. That leaves just 1 enemy. At the moment inside the building in front of us, OVD takes a shot and does get a hit, but it's grazing damage, so not enough. And that enemy then runs away, back towards the van on the other side of the building, which is where we're trying to get to. I spent a turn kind of just setting up on our side of the building ready to move through, but then another enemy squad appeared off to our left, and in this squad they've got one of the snake guys, the Vipers. They're more powerful than regular Advent soldiers and have a variety of special abilities like poisoning, and I think they can grab you and pull them towards them as well. Pretty annoying. And what also is annoying is the fact that this squad is kind of on our flank, so we have to totally reposition to try and engage them, and probably won't be able to do much this turn. The only big action I took was flashbanging those guys on Overwatch so I could move. And yes, aside from that, I just shuffled around and got my cover facing the right direction. Let's see what the aliens do. Well, they've got another drone, it's charging right at us, absorbing some nice Overwatch here. I think we do get some damage on it from Alexandria, but 1 damage, so yeah, not very significant. And it does actually shoot doing only 1 damage, but also giving us the disoriented debuff. Then the guy we wounded earlier comes in and overwatches at the back, and this guy who's in the building with us in bad cover does get a shot on Nuke. Luckily he survives. Now it's going to be another turn where, because the enemy are overwatching over there, it's difficult for us to move up on them. There's no good cover. I'm going to be forced to try and flash them out of Overwatch, but actually I could only flash one of them out because of how the walls were set up. So really I'm not going to be doing very much this turn. I'm waiting for an opportunity to appear. One thing I can do is take out that drone because Hannibal was sitting right next to it, so that's something off our mind. Aside from that, let's see what the aliens do this time. The wounded guy at the back moves into some pretty decent cover and takes a shot at Offie D, but he is also in decent cover, so nothing comes of that. Then the snake just kind of runs away, but then comes back. I thought maybe it was going to outflank us on the other side, but ultimately I don't think it's achieved anything there, so that's good. The guy inside the building starts making a run for it. We get some Overwatch damage, but no kill, but then that guy doesn't really do anything, he's just sat in front of us. So now it's time to party. We can actually start doing some damage. Belisarius, who was sneaking up the road outside, throws a grenade to kill the guy who was in good cover. Hannibal does a run and gun to get to point blank range against the Viper and get the kill there. And Nuke can move up and take out the guy who's inside the building with us. And with that, all of a sudden the building is secure and we can move on. We grab the person we're supposed to be rescuing, but then on the way back to the extraction point, 2 more enemies appeared. They didn't achieve much. Hannibal shot one in the face, and the other one took some damage from Offie D, but then we got the finish with Alexandria the Great, who used this flamethrower skill, which I think can damage through cover, which is quite handy, and indeed it took that guy out. With that, we just extract, and the mission is done with 2 wounds, Nuke taking some damage and Caesar being unconscious but still alive and actually not that wounded, so he'll be back in action soon. That went okay in the end. The question is, did we find the right lead? Well, I guess not, because Discover a Lead is still in progress. I tried. We've got another squad currently trying to find a lead, so hope is not lost yet. And actually, the lead it did get us, a lead on the campaign map to go find a scientist, is actually quite good. So we've got a scientist out of that mission, which is a very valuable reward in the end. I'm being facetious, but that probably was a good mission to have gone on. Now then, let's go on another one. We've got another mission to free some captured rebels to level up our bases. As usual, we use concealment to get close to the captives before we do anything. There are some enemies between us and the building with the captives in it. There are also some more enemies on the left side of this building I'm currently setting up on, so we need to deal with them. And actually one of my guys is already in their detection range, so I decided to just start the fight. Right now, it's Darius the Great, returning from his previous retirement, with a very bad rocket attack. I was trying to hit all 3 of the enemies there, that could have killed 2 of them. But no, we just get some damage on the sectoid, so a very bad start. Now we need to fight on both sides of the building. John Dark really pulls through with a really good Overwatch shot that kills the sectoid. But yes, as I said, now they're coming around the left and right side of the building. Well, except for that guy, who gets taken down by reaction fire from Rommel. Good work from him, lots of good gunnery reaction fire going on up on that roof. Montgomery, coming up on the left side of the building, gets a flanking shot on that trooper. That was a long-range shot for a shotgun, but we do get the hit and the kill. There was also a surveillance drone over here, and it's easy to take out because it's kind of at the back of the building in a safe place with us. And a new guy, Bagration here, just shoots it at close range with an assault rifle and gets the kill. Not much else we can do. Let's see what the aliens do in their turn. Well, they're out of here. They're down to 1 guy out of the original 5 we engaged, and he's just going to run away. I spent my turn just overwatching and shuffling around in the building, but then some more enemies came from the building we're trying to get to, so now we'll fight these guys. And it starts really well with 2 more Overwatch hits from the gunners. Immediately 2 enemies are down. They are just pulling their weight, those guys. They are absolutely carrying the entire squad. Meanwhile, the others are going to try and do something. Darius here moves up to try and engage the last guy, but this draws in 3 more enemies. So it looks like this fight's actually going to be a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. Never advance, still always the rule of playing XCOM the safe way. Just stay still and use Overwatch until you win. So yes, I throw a flashbang out to debuff all of those guys, and then Nabuna, who is moving up towards the left flank of the new enemy position, gets some damage with a grenade but no kill. The enemy don't do anything in their turn, or they don't achieve anything in their turn, and then Nabuna runs up on the left and sword attacks that guy she already grenaded. And that was another case of running through the Overwatch fire because she can't trigger it, so that way we've saved someone else potentially getting shot at by the Overwatch. Darius moves up to support her. There's a guy on the other side of this statue thing, and we can use that flamethrower ability again from earlier. Goes through cover, so bang, that guy just instantly dies. That's a pretty handy move. As for the last one, Montgomery gets into position to throw a grenade, gets a good damage roll, and that guy is toast. I thought that might be it, but more enemies are just further up this same plaza area, so we need to take them down to completely secure the building, especially because one of the prisoners is inside that door just on the left side of the screen there where the enemy have now set up, so it would be good to take these guys out just in case they go in there and cause trouble. We start off with a grenade to immediately damage the first enemy, but no kill unfortunately. Everyone else is kind of quite far away because I was going to enter this big building further down the road, so we have to start repositioning now, ready to fight these new enemies. I get some suppression on the guy at the back, but that's the most we can do for this turn. Time to see what the enemy do. Well, the guy who's closer to us shuffles a bit, shoots invisibly, and hits Darius, and he gets one-shotted, but he isn't dead, he's bleeding out. However, this is the last of the squads that went out before I realised we could equip med packs, so we don't have a way to counter the bleeding out. But we can do it the hard way, that is to take Jeanne d'Arc here and have her try to carry Darius to the extraction point in time. Means now we're 2 men down on the squad, so fighting will be a bit harder, but we are only facing 2 enemies, so not all that bad, and there is a chance of actually getting to the place in time. Montgomery runs up to be really close to the enemy and outflank them. Before I made an attack, I wanted to see if Nabuna could run out to attack the one that Montgomery isn't currently outflanking. Unfortunately, we can only attack the one that she is. Now for some reason I thought, well, let's actually run out and do this attack, so that kills one enemy. But it means Nabuna is now standing in a position that's already outflanked by the enemy just to the left, who is in heavy cover. Overall then, we're now in trouble because we can't hit that enemy. Montgomery has a tiny chance of hitting, but basically nothing. I do though have Trench Gun. This has an area of effect looking attack, and what I wanted to know is, does this actually affect an area, or is it just targeting multiple enemies and it still makes the accuracy calculations? Well, I spent a long time actually trying to find out on my phone how that ability worked. I was unable to discover the truth, but eventually went with the safer option of flashbanging the enemy just so that they're less likely to hit because of the disorientation debuff. With that, we're going to be at their mercy because Nabuna can die in one hit to an attack from an Advent Gunner. And because the game doesn't like me, at this point enemy reinforcements arrive. It's only 2 guys, but they happen to arrive right where this little standoff is going on. So now we've got 3 enemies against our 2, and the chance of being outflanked only goes up. This pair kind of split. One guy starts running away and actually takes some reaction fire that misses, so he runs over to that bus stop and the other guy comes over to join the whole situation here. But then the gunner fires and misses by pure luck. We got away with that incredibly bad move that I did with Nabuna there. So back to our turn, it's time to try and get out of this. Jeanne d'Arc's going to continue running for the capture point, and it looks like that we're going to be within a turn of getting to it next turn, so there's every chance we'll escape. Meanwhile, I'm going to use this trench gun thing to try and attack these 2 enemies at once. And by doing this, I confirm that no, it's not area of effect. It does have a chance of missing because it misses the second guy annoyingly. At least we killed the first guy. We can use Nabuna to run over to that bus stop and take out the guy who's slightly further away. But this does still leave us with an enemy standing right next to Montgomery. I can use a flashbang from Bagration who's nearby to debuff him, but we're stuck with the same situation as before. That enemy easily outflanks Montgomery and does get the hit, but because he's only a sentry and not a gunner, he does less damage and can't kill her in one hit, so we take a serious wound there, but she'll be okay. And speaking of being okay, there goes Jeanne d'Arc with Darius. Going up into the Sky Ranger cancels the bleeding out thing, and your character is now off mission and alive, and we even get an achievement for doing that. Anyway, Montgomery finishes off that enemy with a point-blank range shot, and we're away. It looks like there were actually 4 more enemies somewhere on the map, it turns out. That was a very difficult mission for some reason, but we've just about gotten away with it. Darius will be out of action again for ages. Montgomery less so, thanks to the Advanced Warfare Center. Well, I'm going to have to just put up with that, and perhaps they'll come back later for some more heroics. I completed the construction of the proving ground, finishing up all of my current building slots. That's just a thing that builds items that we'll need later for the story. And then, before anything else happens, it's time to go for another Find a Lead jaunt down in India. It's another stage with a really short time limit, so I'm going to try and get super close to that objective in the hopes that we can cheekily do it and then do the rest of the stage afterwards. We don't want to get bogged down fighting the aliens. However, it's another case where the aliens' coverage, their line of sight, especially on these drones, ends up pretty much swamping all of the routes towards the objective. And since we do have a very strict time limit, we can't try to wait them out or go around. In fact, in this case, half our guys are now in the enemy's spotting range, so we have to fight them. Let's get going then. Vlad the Impaler shoots a grenade into that road, killing one enemy and damaging that officer next to him. It's just the officer and the two drones now. The officer's nearly dead, and he becomes more dead when Wilma gets a snipe overwatch. Very good. The two drones won't be able to act this turn. By the way, if anyone knows the rules regarding when an enemy can attack you in the first turn that they see you and when they can't, do let me know, because I always thought the rule was they never could, but we've seen before they can sometimes. Anyway, that aside, the two drones get killed by the rest of our team, who eventually manage to take them down, all working together, and now we're ready to move on. So we start moving up towards the building containing the computer we're supposed to hack. It's some kind of diner, but there are 4 enemies guarding it, and with only 6 turns to go, we could do with killing them quite quickly. Annoyingly, they're in great positions. They're all in the diner, a couple of them are in heavy cover, and our guys are mostly too far away to engage this turn, apart from Saladino here. And you know what he's going to do? He's got the grenade launcher out, and we're going to go for a shot on the corner of the building. Since there is an enemy on the ground and first floor there, we can hit them both. What I hoped for was to actually destroy the roof so the guy on top would fall down, but we didn't get enough damage. We just damaged both, killing the one below. The rest of my team just moves up during their turn, but 2 more enemies appear in this building off to my right. Napoleon gets a questionable line of sight overwatch and does some damage. The rest of the enemies are just setting up, moving towards that alley to the side of the diner. The Viper takes some kind of crazy multiple wall shot and manages to get a miss. Thank you very much for that. And there is one enemy there on Overwatch who we need to pay attention to. Actually, this guy goes on Overwatch as well, after wasting some time firing at a guy in heavy cover. He's also now in a position that's really easy to outflank. Once it's our turn again, Saladino is back at it with the grenades, and in fact back at it with the multiple story attack. We killed 2 guys on 2 floors there. Nice stuff. Wilma the Conqueror is right at the back here on top of a tower overlooking the whole situation, and she has an almost outflanking snipe on the guy who came into the car park, and we actually get the critical there, taking him down instantly. That wasn't that likely to happen, so very good work from her. There's one more enemy in the building to our right, and Vlad deals with that, shooting a grenade up there to take him out, leaving just the Viper in the diner. The Viper doesn't really do anything with its turn, but something is going on. There is a cutscene of nothing here, and then an enemy comes back to life. So that's the sort of thing that a sectoid can do, bringing back enemies as zombies. But we're apparently not fighting a sectoid, or the game thinks we are, so somehow a sectoid is involved in this. We can't see it, and they haven't been triggered into the fight, so I'm not sure what's happening. Anyway, Saladino uses his final grenade to put some more damage on that Viper, still not clearing out its cover though, annoyingly. Vlad takes out the zombie using his laser rifle. The laser rifles that we developed earlier are on the field, all 2 of them. I think Saladino has the other one, just hasn't used it yet. And as for the Viper, we've got Boudica here, a new member of our squads who goes up and slashes the Viper through the wall. And there we have it. We've now got the diner basically secured, except for the fact that those enemies that we suspected were around earlier are actually here. There's a sectoid and a guy up on the roof. Or they were up on the roof. They immediately go down into that alleyway, so that's where we'll have to fight them. And that guy gets a shot off in his discovery turn, and actually does a tiny bit of damage to Napoleon, but he tanks it on his armor, so that doesn't really count. He takes revenge by throwing a grenade right back and clearing the cover from the attacker, and then the game jumps me over to Wilma here, and she has a really high chance to hit this nice long-range snipe, and there we go, she finishes that first guy off. As for the sectoid, no one else could really attack apart from that one frag grenade thrown by Boudica, who got pretty close. The sectoid could attack us and easily outflank Boudica, but it's on fire and it's getting outflanked itself as it moves towards us, and that triggers the AI to make it move again. It just does nothing, gets easily killed during our turn. But then 2 more guys get dropped down on the roof before I can actually do the hack on the thing. These 2 guys are going to jump down to the ground floor, but unfortunately for them, most of my squad is sitting around on Overwatch. Vlad takes a shot from the roof, it's a good miss. Boudica takes out the weaker of the 2 enemies. Then Saladino at close range with the laser rifle takes out the other one. And with that, the area is finally secure. Check out this tease on the bonus for the hack. We so nearly got it. But anyway, we've now disarmed the detonator on the thing, so we've captured the thing and escaped with the thing and in perfect health. No wounds whatsoever, a flawless mission, just what we need. Now these guys can do something else. But the question is, did we do something just there? Did we discover a lead? Well, in the top left, discover a lead is still in progress, but I'll come back to that in a sec, because first, I realised I've unlocked the ability to buy this, Vulture, an ability that doubles enemy drops. Now, I was pretty sure this would be a good idea. Even though it cost all my money to get it, I'm hoping this will make me a lot of money in the long run. We'll just sell off all the spare weapon attachments, and by this point pretty much everyone in the team has weapon attachments, so all the loot we're getting now can just be thrown away and turned into supplies. Anyway, look at that. When I go to the campaign map, we've discovered a lead. We actually did it. Now we just have to build the resistance, an even more abstract objective. Well, guess we'll try that next time.